2 of this series. I'm going to talk a little bit about those systems. We have enterprise project management systems, and we'll talk about what they do and how all of these systems relate to each other. Your EPM have samples like Project Server, you may have heard of that, very famous. Microsoft has a top tool. Portfolio Server, which is their new product, which allows you to have dashboards. Clarity, which is another famous one, Primavera, PlanView, as well as the new product, HP Project. HP Project has lots of modules as well. They were originally Mercury ITG, and they had all of the systems that you needed. The next product that goes along with the EPM is your financial system. You may have heard of SAP. That's also a famous system. You have your human resources system, which we talked about earlier, and there's a very famous one called PeopleSoft HR. That's also a very good system. It holds all of your resources. Know that you also need a time management system. In every organization, you'll go in and vendors are listed in your time management system as well as your FTEs, your employees for that organization. So if you think about these systems that need to link together, there's a lot of things happening in your organization. We also take a look at how financials map over to your enterprise project management system, and rightfully so, they should. Many organizations have the resources go into your time management system, and then the financials go into the SAP system. And if we're really good, we make sure all of those numbers are into your EPM. Now, how does this really work? When you install your enterprise project management system and know that you have in your IT side, you've got an operating system, such as your Windows OS. That's what's happening. You also have a database, which would be a SQL server. That holds all of your information. All of these systems now have to talk to each other. So that's an interesting thing. On the SAP side, know that there's a database as well. And that database, if we're really lucky, will talk to this database. So if we can do that, at times there may be an interface that's required. If you don't directly link or develop those two, you may decide to put an interface application between that so that your EPM and your financial system can map to each other. Let's think about what happens when we have standards that are set in a PeopleSoft HR system or time management or an SAP or EPM. So think about standards and naming conventions and how your resources will be listed within all these applications. So if it's first name, last name in the resource pool, it needs to be first name, last name in your financial tool. It should also be the same way in PeopleSoft and Time and Labor. The really good thing about Microsoft Project, though, Project Server, is when you create a project plan standalone, you're allowed to create that name basically on the fly. But once you go into this EPM system, it has to map to the database that's stored in that EPM system. The really cool thing about Project Server, though, is it has the web. And it's called PWA, Project Web Access. That allows a web application to be able to go back and forth and follow your information from a web perspective. Your executives would love to use this tool because what it does is show them the higher level of the projects. So that's a very interesting thing. I mean, it's a great thing. Your EPM now has another tool, and that's a portfolio server now. It is also web-based. It takes all the information from your project plans, and you can create your dashboard reporting. So we're going to talk a little bit about dashboard reporting today, especially in my presentation. So stay with me, and we'll take a look at how ITVAMP's processes will ensure that all of this works. Now, we're not going to talk about technical processes. We're going to talk about business processes. Because think about the roles that we just talked about in part 1. How the financial manager is involved with your financial system. How your PMO person is involved with your EPM system. How your human resources person is in charge of your PeopleSoft application, and so on and so on. So let's take a look at my presentation that I'm going to give you in a few minutes. And it will give you an idea of how our processes will ensure that all of this works. What needs to happen? If we don't have an actual link, physical link between the applications, then guess what has to happen? people have to talk to each other. Imagine a report that generates from the SAP system, and it has all of your financials in it. Imagine a report that generates from your EPM system, and it has financials in it. What we're going to do is show you, if you're not linked to any of these, how do we talk to each other to make sure that a report generates from that system and that representative is able to get the correct number? And again, I'm going to take you up to your CEO. That's what it's all about. Thank you for joining me. We have 12 key EPM process areas, and we're going to talk about those today. That's what ITVAMP has developed. So, the first area is governance. Governance is the area that's required to make sure that everything happens. Strategy and scoping. How do we strategize our projects? Portfolio management. You'll hear such a big term about that. And that is very key to your business as well. Program management. That's needed. Your project management, resource management, quality, change, risk, issue, financial, and time. We also add vendor management. In the event you need the vendor management, we will combine issue and risk. So let's talk about that today. What do we do? ITVAMP has 12 key process areas, and these process areas will make you successful. If you think about methodologies, there's, right there, if you take a look at my Project Management Institute on the wall, at the top of that shelf, there's a certificate for a PMI. They have a proven methodology. And with that proven methodology, what you'll be able to do is, manage your projects. That is that lowest level. We're going to take you to the higher level. The higher level is, what does the CEO need for everything to work? PMI has a risk, and it has issue, and it has a lot of the other options and quality as well. But what we want to do is make sure that we have everything you need to be successful. And we have a proven method to be able to do that. And I'm going to show you what we call our process flows. Our process workflows will give you processes, sub-processes, as well as anything else you need regarding artifacts. We own a library, a 100-form library from levels 1 to 5, based on your maturity level of your EPMO that we're going to build for you. And we sell in modules. We will sell only the modules that you need. Or if you need a full PMO, we'll be able to build that for you. So we're taking a look at the fact that you may have an EPM in place. So if you do have an EPM in place, let's make sure that you have all the processes that you need. And that's what we're going to do for you. Ensure that you have those processes. So let's take a look at some things here. What I'm going to do is take a look at some other items that we have on the board that will give you an idea of how things are going to work. Governance, as we talked about, governance. The act of governing and exercising authority. What does that mean? That means we're going to actually exercise our authority to make sure things work. PMOs are not successful if you don't have governance. Many times you have a PMO organization that wants to ramp itself up and do a lot of good things, but they fail. And why do they fail? Because there's no governing body to ensure that they work. And when we put a PMO in place for you, or an ePMO in place for you, we're going to make sure it works. Hi. We're going to show you the ITVAMP product today. And what we built for you are your workflows for all the processes that we talked about in those 10 areas. If you take a look at this is a process model that we will be able to display to you. And then we will come on site and actually customize all of your processes for your organization where it relates to your enterprise project management office. So if you take a look here, we've got our roles as well as artifacts, and as well as all the phases that you would need within your project management organization. That is what we're going to build. So you can be sure that what we have for you is a proven methodology and proven EPM process framework. I've developed these for many organizations, multi-billion-dollar organizations, and we're hoping that everything here at ITVAMP will work for you. So call us. Our number is 609-531-4430. Thank you.